The Los Angeles Chargers are standing in the one place every dangerous team reaches before the noise gets real. No more waiting, no more soft excuses, no more saying next year while Justin Herbert keeps taking hits and carrying the weight. This offseason feels different because the Chargers did not just add names, they changed the whole mood around the team. Jim Harbaugh already made them serious. Now the front office has handed him a roster that looks built to strike before the rest of the AFC West settles down. The first spark is on offense, and it starts with Mike McDaniel walking into the building with a plan that could finally slow the rush before it even gets to Herbert. That matters more than any flashy headline. Rashawn Slater is back. Joe Alt is back. David Njoku gives the middle of the field a new problem. Ladd McConkey already looks like the kind of target a quarterback trusts when the play starts breaking. And with Quentin Johnston, Trey Harris, Brennan Thompson, and Omarion Hampton in the mix, this offense suddenly has speed, size, and options in places where it used to feel stuck. But the real twist is not only on that side of the ball. Chris O'Leary now takes over a defense that still has Derwin James Jr., Tuli Tuipulotu, Khalil Mack, Dion Henley, and a front built to make games ugly for everyone else. That is why this season feels heavier than normal. The Chargers finally have the quarterback, the coach, the weapons, the tackles, and the defensive firepower lined up at the same time. So before anyone writes the same old story about Herbert and the playoffs, there is one thing that needs to be said first. His record does not tell the whole truth. Everybody sees the playoff record first, and that is the trap. Justin Herbert has not won that game yet, so the easy take writes itself. But easy does not mean true. The Chargers did not lose those moments because their quarterback suddenly forgot how to play. The truth is tighter, messier, and far more dangerous for anyone still judging him from the outside. Against Jacksonville, the story became a collapse, but the damage was built through a whole team losing grip, not one arm failing under lights. Against Houston, the pressure came from inside and ruined the rhythm before Roots could breathe. Against New England, the night got even colder because Herbert was dealing with a broken front in front of him and rushers who knew exactly where to attack. That is not an excuse. That is context. Big difference. When a quarterback is hit that often, even the cleanest talent starts playing against ghosts before the snap. That is how drives die quietly. Here is the part that should worry the league. The Chargers finally stopped treating pain like personality. Jim Harbaugh watched the same problems show up, then changed the staff, changed the plan, and gave Herbert a real chance to play, before the pocket turns into chaos. So the next question is not whether Herbert can throw. Everyone knows he can. The real question is what happens when Mike McDaniel changes the clock in his head. The scary part is not that Mike McDaniel brings new plays. Plays are easy to sell in June. The real change is speed. For years, Justin Herbert had to wait, scan, brace, and still make something happen while bodies closed around him. That is a brutal way to live. Now the ball has to leave earlier, cleaner, with answers built before the hit arrives. That is where McDaniel becomes dangerous. His offense can use motion to make defenders show their plan. It can use quick throws to punish soft space. It can move Herbert outside the pocket instead of asking him to stand there like a target. Under Greg Roman, too many snaps felt heavy, like every yard had to be dragged out by force. This version should feel faster. Ladd McConkey can win underneath. Quentin Johnston can stretch corners. Trey Harris can work into bigger chances. Brennan Thompson, the rookie speed threat, can turn one mistake into panic. But none of this is magic. Timing only works when the line gives the quarterback enough peace to trust it. That is why the next piece matters even more than the playbook. Herbert does not need a perfect world. He needs a fair one. And inside that rebuilt front, one young name is walking into a battle that could decide how real this whole change becomes. The next name does not sound like a headline yet, and that is exactly why it matters. Jake Slaughter is not walking into Los Angeles as some finished star. He is a rookie lineman with pressure sitting on his shoulders before his first real snap. The Chargers picked him from Florida because the middle of the pocket kept turning into trouble, and that cannot keep happening. This battle is not about hype. It is about trust. Rashawn Slater can return on the left side, Joe Alt can lock down the other edge, and Tyler Biadasz can steady the center spot. But one weak inside gap can ruin the whole picture. Kyoto Owosika brings experience. Cole Strange brings another tough option. Trevor Penning gives the room more size. Still, if Slaughter grows fast enough, the Chargers suddenly have a younger body inside who can help the run game and protect Justin Herbert from the shortest path to pain. That is the part fans cannot ignore. Edge rushers get the loud sacks, but inside pressure steals a quarterback's peace. It forces rushed throws. It kills play action. It makes even a smart offense feel late. So while everyone watches the weapons, the real answer may be hidden at left guard. If that spot settles, Mike McDaniel can open the playbook. If it shakes, the same old fear walks right back into the huddle. And that is where the season starts feeling less like promise and more like pressure nobody can hide from. The Chargers found trouble for defenses in a place most fans were not watching. Oronda Gadsden II did not need loud attention to show he belonged. He worked the middle, slipped behind linebackers, and turned small windows into real gains. That matters because his first season already gave the staff proof with 49 catches, 664 yards, and 3 touchdowns already recorded too. Now add David Njoku, and suddenly that same space becomes crowded with stress. One safety cannot cover everything. One linebacker cannot guess wrong twice. That is why Charlie Kolar matters too. He is not here just to catch passes. He can block, chip, and force defenses to respect heavier looks before the ball even moves. Put Gadsden, Njoku, and Kolar together, and Mike McDaniel can hide, run, and pass inside the same picture. Justin Herbert does not have to force deep shots every drive. He can take clean throws, punish soft zones, and let matchups break slowly. This is where the offense starts feeling unfair. Ladd McConkey can slide into open grass. Quentin Johnston can stretch the field. Trey Harris can find room when defenders lean inside. Brennan Thompson brings speed that makes one mistake expensive. Then Omarion Hampton, Kimani Vidal, and Keaton Mitchell keep the ground game alive. The Chargers did not add one answer. They added layers. And once the tight ends control the middle, the defense has to pick its poison. The defense lost its loudest brain, but not its backbone. Jesse Minter is gone, and that changes the room. Still, Chris O'Leary is not walking into an empty building. He inherits a unit with real teeth, real speed, and enough leaders to keep the standard from slipping when the first bad Sunday arrives. Start with Tuli Tuipulotu because his rise changed the front. He is no longer just a young rusher trying to earn respect. He is a weekly problem. Khalil Mack still brings power, calm, and grown man control on the edge. Behind them, Derwin James Jr. gives the whole defense its heartbeat, while Dion Henley and Junior Colson bring range in the middle. On the outside, Tarheeb Still and Cam Hart give O'Leary corners who can survive pressure calls without begging for help. The quiet swing is up front. Odafe Owe leaving for Washington created a real hole, so Akeem Mesidor, the rookie edge from Miami, has to matter early. T.R. Tart and Dalvin Tomlinson give the interior weight, and that matters in a division trying to run through people. If O'Leary keeps the disguise sharp and the tackling clean, this defense can protect every offensive growing pain. But the division around them is changing fast, and the Chargers cannot pretend the road stays friendly. The West has new faces, wounded giants, and one champion sitting in their way. That pressure is the next chapter now. The Chargers can feel the door moving, but nobody is handing them the room. The AFC West is not soft. It is restless. The Denver Broncos are sitting there with Bo Nix and Sean Payton, carrying the kind of belief that comes from finishing on top. That alone makes every Chargers dream more serious. Then there are the Kansas City Chiefs, and this is where the story gets tense. A wounded giant is still a giant. Patrick Mahomes may be dealing with recovery, the roster may look different, and the old fear may not feel as automatic, but respect stays on the table. You do not build a plan around hoping the Chiefs vanish. You build a plan strong enough to survive when they punch back. Every matchup now feels like a test, not a formality, and that changes the temperature fast. The Las Vegas Raiders are changing the ground under their feet too. Clint Kubiak brings a new voice. Kirk Cousins brings veteran calm. Fernando Mendoza brings future heat. Tyler Linderbaum and Key Walker bring weight to a rebuild that wants to get physical fast. That is why the Chargers cannot drift into this season thinking talent alone will save them. The division has a champion, a wounded legend, and a fresh rebuild trying to rise. For Los Angeles, the window is open, but it is narrow, and that leads to the brutal truth waiting at the end. This is where the talk stops helping. The Chargers have built a real answer around Justin Herbert, and now the season has to prove it. Jim Harbaugh has the edge every serious team wants, a locker room that believes, a defense with bite, and an offense no longer built on hope alone. That sounds exciting. It also sounds heavy, because now there is nowhere to hide. Mike McDaniel has to make the passing game feel lighter. Jake Slaughter, the rookie, has to grow fast if his name gets called inside. David Njoku, Orunde Gadsden II, and Charlie Kolar have to turn short throws into steady damage. Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt have to stay on the field. Chris O'Leary has to keep the defense sharp without Jesse Minter holding the board. Akeem Mesidor, another rookie, has to help cover the rush lost when Odafe Owe left. That is the brutal truth. This is not a rebuild story anymore. It is a prove-it story. Herbert has the arm. The Chargers have the pieces. The division has no patience. If this line holds and the new system hits early, Los Angeles can change the whole conversation before December. But if the pocket cracks again, the same questions come back louder than ever. That is why this season feels so dangerous. The Chargers finally loaded the cannon. Now they have to fire.